conversation about the year ahead beyond some of the micro of what you've heard today and what you'll hear the rest of the day. But that's my intent. Big status update, and honestly, we looked at the end of the year and the beginning of the year, and we kind of looked at each other and we went, wow, we did a lot last year. What are we doing this year? And I'm not going to say that we don't have things on the docket, but it's like significantly less looming, right? And just kind of hanging over our heads. Last year was a beast. This year, it's not to say like we don't have some prompt upgrades. It'll just naturally pop up. Weave prompt integration, some stuff on the payroll side that we will take to completion, but a lot more like optimizing and refining of what we already have. So I think in terms of the totality of it, I think it's certainly going to be an easier year, and ideally we can focus more on patient care, community connectivity, relationship building, as opposed to system stuff. But we did kind of sit there and kind of go like, wow, is this all we have to do this year? It's not to say we won't come up with ideas, but big picture, no new systems, except for Uni, which we will be rolling out your AI scribe on the clinical side later. Super, super excited about that. Again, we'll be optimizing what we have. And I think by the end of the year, we will be figuring out what efficiency truly looks like. Like how efficient did 2024 and 2025 make the company? How easy is it for us to do X amount of work? And something that you just keep looking at, and again, just mention it because I know some of the people that have been here for a while, they're like, oh my God, my starting salary was this. Increasing total compensation is a marker of efficiency, okay? If we're not efficient, we have more people and total comp goes down in terms of the revenue. So if you look at revenue to total comp, like that ratio, it should just keep going like this, even without discounts, even without fee schedule increases, etc. So then if we increase what we're doing, we get more discounts, we get more fee schedule increases, and we run a more efficient business, total comp goes up. Okay? Because you need like less people and it's less hard to do the same amount of work. 2025 upgrades, okay, little stuff here. Mentioned the AI scribe, Colby. For those of you that are either in a formal leadership position or you will be in a formal leadership position, you should have already gotten this. I have about maybe a third of you that have filled it out already. But Colby, I looked at a bunch of different, like this personality, culture index, strength finder, stuff like that. This is decision and action focused. I want to know how you make decisions as an individual. I want to know how you make decisions at a collaborative level. So that's the point of the Colby index. We do things, again, just may or may not care, but EOS is a model of a business making improvements, right? So there's a EOS model, you may be familiar with like the book Traction or Rocket Fuel. Gino Wickman may come to mind, but we use a lot of the same structure as the EOS model. Colby fits very, very well with the EOS model. So this is kind of a trickle-down effect of some things that we're doing on a corporate level that we want more people in the company to experience. The other thing that everybody will have the ability to go through is the Lead 'em Up self-paced leadership guide that you have is in Trainual, and you can go through that. That is a self-paced leadership guide that everybody can have access to. But obviously we're not going to have everybody do Colby when we're having you focus on mentorship, developing yourself as a clinician first, before then you worry about the leadership side. Okay? You can go through, you can self-paced. There's elements where you're connecting with people to go through that self-paced guide. But if you think about our big three words, build, lead, sell, you enter the company, you focus on the build side first. Then you elevate your role and responsibilities. You own the build side, then you end up in the lead side. And then you have other individuals that have ended up on the sell side, and they've helped open up locations. But that's kind of like a pyramid, and you got to make sure you take care of the basics first. And for transparency, I think we have like about 30, 31 people that are doing Colby stuff this year. Again, it's just, you gotta draw a line somewhere. Prompt is gonna be continual upgrades. I mentioned the Weave prompt integration. Largo, finally, longest lease negotiation process ever. Sorry, Amber and Drew. Cross my fingers, May is the earliest. They said July the latest, just so everybody knows. It's right by the new University of Maryland Medical Center, Largo Town Center, for anybody's familiar. We love it. It's right, very, very close to where 50 interacts with 495, and it's how close to where you all live? Love it, okay? Close, like that's a great fit. And obviously we're super excited for Drew and Amber to lead us into Prince George's County. Here are a couple other locations that we're kind of trying to figure out kind of what's going on and what we're doing. I would love to get in the city at some point in time. That is something that I have a couple options, but you know, you try to figure out kind of what's going on from a market standpoint. Is our city properties inflated? What's the vacancy rates? The city's just a little bit of a different game compared to stuff out in the suburbs. Westminster is absolutely short list, right? We talked about that enough. Zach, we're kicking around real estate discussions there. Ashburn to close the loop between Reston and Leesburg. Springfield would be the next logical place to go south of Tyson's. And then northern Baltimore. Where's Greg? There we go, right? Maybe potentially a little bit up Towson, Timonium, and that area. Not to say this list is exclusive, but this is just like conversations that are being had about where things could potentially go. I've used this slide back-to-back years, but this is always a short list of questions that I ask myself. It could be questions that you ask of yourself as well. But you know, we don't want to become big medical. We don't want to be in a situation where we get too big. There's corporate bloat. There's a lot of like roadblocks to like making things happen. There's too many barriers. Like I think of the word agility. Like we are still very agile. We want to do something, we do it quick, right? We're able to make quick decisions. We're able to move fast, break stuff quickly, solve stuff quickly. We're not a very, very slow-moving cruise ship at this point in time. Like I don't want to ever become a slow-moving cruise ship. And that is something that, hopefully, again, you all are thinking about. How do you avoid some of the narratives in the healthcare industry associated with hospital systems? Obviously, there's certain things from an insurance company standpoint that are sometimes outside of our control, but again, control the controllables. How do we avoid people feeling like they're in the dark? How do we ensure that you all aren't bystanders? Those two, I would argue, there's a certain amount of mutual responsibility. We can do a lot. Some of it is you all being engaged and active on channels like Slack, on emails. If you never open Slack, when you show up and you go a full day without even checking your Slack, I can't help you, okay? If you don't read your emails at least once a day, I can't help you. Like there's certain things that just have to be a normal part of your cadence. And then if you have questions or comments or criticisms or anything, speak. Okay? Like, there's so many ways to do it. Direct channels, there's typing it, there's like in person, there's quarterly feedback forms that go out. We purposely keep them general. What's good? What's bad? What do you need help with? What would you change? It's like purposely open-ended. Okay, and you're either going to hear something that's going to be, okay, we're changing that, or you're just going to get somebody that says, hey, this is the way that it is, this is the perspective, X, Y, and Z, right? Not every bit of feedback, like, is great feedback, and sometimes you're just missing some perspective. We're happy to have that conversation with you. Sometimes it is great, and instead of going on a now list, it goes on a next list, or it's on a later list. We just might communicate to you, hey, it's not a big rock for us right now, or it's not a low-hanging fruit, one of those pebbles that we can just knock off. There's some level of prioritization, and then we're always trying to make sure that we maximize value to the consumer. Just remember, core values, keep in mind my role. Fortunately, we have more and more people that are getting specialized. You heard from some of them today. I might sit here and pass the baton a little bit more than I ever have. And that is because a lot of times, quite honestly, I am aware of a lot, but I don't know a lot as well, and especially when it comes to certain specific things. I am good at triaging, I'm good at resourcing, I'm good at getting things to work in unison, but there are some times where I sit there and I go, don't know, talk to this person, don't know, and I'm getting more and more comfortable saying, I don't know. So recognize that, recognize who might be overseeing that department or the category that you're potentially reaching out about. And I think that'll allow you to get to a clearly defined endpoint sooner. Other than that, thank you for a largely outward communication morning. The back half of the day will be much more collaborative, up and moving. But again, thinking back to the whole point of today, ideally you have a better idea of what went on last year, what was good, what wasn't good, what we're actively working on right now, a better awareness of the company overall, and a better awareness of what's going to go on in the next 365 days. So I know it was a lot. I also know that Panera is not here, so we kind of have this awkward lull, given the fact that I haven't seen anybody back there yet. So hang tight. Clinical team, we won't need to be over at the new facility until 12 o'clock. So you all can kind of hang out a little bit. Panera should be here any moment. But thank you all. Appreciate it.